Hi there. Welcome to this episode of Cure's video series. I'm Kevin Bai, co-founder of Cure, and today we'll be talking about surprise billing and what you can do to avoid receiving a surprise bill. So what are surprise bills, otherwise known as balance bills? In general, they refer to extra bills sent by a hospital to a patient because one of the doctors that worked with that patient isn't in the patient's insurer's network. Or in other words, the patient's insurer doesn't have a contract with those doctors. This means that the patient has to pay any copays billed by the insurer and the extra bills sent by surprise by the hospital. Surprise bills are actually fairly common and can be devastating financially. 1 in 6 ER visits result in a surprise bill. And more surprisingly, 1 in 5 elective procedures, which, keep in mind, you schedule ahead of time, result in a surprise bill. Moreover, the average surprise bill costs over $2,000, which is far more than what 70% of Americans have in their savings account. How can I avoid a surprise bill? Well, when you schedule treatment ahead of time, be proactive. Make sure to call the office and the doctors you'll be working with to verify that everyone is in your insurer's network. However, it's not always possible to verify that everyone you'll be working with is in fact in network, especially in urgent or emergency situations. In these kind of situations, according to Dr. Marty Makary of Johns Hopkins University, the law actually protects you from surprise bills. EMTALA, a piece of legislation passed under the Reagan administration, says that it is the pre-existing duty of healthcare providers to treat you regardless of who your insurer is or your ability to pay. So what does this mean for surprise billing? Well, when you receive one of these payment agreement forms that ask you to accept unlimited charges if your insurer doesn't pay, and essentially just sign away your financial livelihood, you're not actually legally obligated to agree to those terms. What you should do instead is ask for a paper copy of the form and then simply cross out the lines that ask you to accept all financial responsibility for charges not covered by your insurer. Under EMTALA, the hospital is legally required to treat you even if you don't accept their conditions. If they violate the law and such their contract with the government, they risk losing access to Medicare and Medicaid payments, which comprise on average 70% of their revenue. But let's return to the emergency situation. After your treatment, ideally the hospital won't send you a surprise bill, and your insurer will actually pay up. But let's say that the hospital sends you a bill because one physician was out of network. If the price is reasonable, and you can determine this by comparing it to cash prices that are available online, then go ahead and pay the bill. But if the price is outrageous, say 5 to 10 times more than what's online, you have the power to negotiate because you, legally speaking, don't have to pay for anything. If they refuse to negotiate and if collections come calling, ask them for the legal agreement that says that you agreed to pay. Since you scratched out those lines, such an agreement doesn't exist, and the collections cannot force you to pay. Now, even in these worst case scenarios, I would still encourage you to donate the fair price of the procedure to the hospital if your finances permit. The point of this law is not to cheat hospitals and doctors out of their hard-earned money, but rather to protect patients from facing financial ruin. So in summary, be proactive when you can, and in urgent or emergency situations, print out the payment agreement form and cross out the lines that obligate you to pay. If the hospital sends you an outrageously expensive surprise bill, you don't actually have to pay, and you can make a donation equal to the fair price instead. Thanks for watching this video today, and if you're interested for more content, be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube.